Tell us about Fun Camille.
Who's that?
My ex was a terrible kisser.
I don't even remember being in bed with the man, for God's sake.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, it's been that long. Not that it was ever that hot and heavy.
Fun Camille, let's see. What parts of Fun Camille? Like, I think I'm a little bit sarcastic at times. I say a lot of ridiculous, stupid things sometimes, and I own it. I say stupid things. Sometimes I say it for shock value. Sometimes I say it just because I want to lighten the mood in the room. And yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why I try not to drink. Because I never know what's gonna come out of my mouth.
I heard a lot of very deep, dark secrets about her ex, which was a little uncomfortable at times.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
I mean, I thought I heard everything, but Camille was coming out with stuff that was like, oh my God.
Do you have a mailgroom PK?
I didn't do it.
I like to see my men mailgroom.
Oh, just living for
I
you
don't know if I
right
can
now.
repeat it. I don't know if I can repeat it. I mean, there's everything from,
No.
okay.
You were talking about the cauliflower and the like broth. Wait, cabbage batter?
No.
What was it?
I don't, well, they won't, Eric.
I mean, over the years, I've said ridiculous stuff about my ex-husband, that I had to manscape him, that he had barnacles.
I used to have to scrape those barnacles off.
I mean, I've said, you know, it was so bad.
She didn't even have a full drink, I don't think.
Well, that's why she doesn't drink a lot, because it affects her. And then, you know, cautious, censored Camille leaves the room. And then we have, uh-oh, you're gonna regret this later, Camille.
Fun Camille makes some comments about Lisa's teeth. Do you remember this?
No, we forgot.
Forgot all of that. Next question.
So when were you a dental hygienist?
Oh my Lord, if that gets aired. Lisa, I am so sorry ahead of time. Your teeth look gorgeous.
Before Lisa Vanderpump got her teeth redone, I had an issue with them. It's hard for me because I was a dental assistant. You need new caps. Your gum line is receding, and well, at least you can stand upright. I'm going down. I'm going down.
God help me.
Yes, I was tipsy, like full on, like I was in an altered state, okay, from the quarter of a drink that I had. And believe me, you know, I have removed and helped remove many old caps, and there's an odor that comes with it. And I do say something about that, and I feel so bad only because I worked with this for many years. And sure enough, she replaced her caps, and they look great. All as well as Lisa's mouth. She looks great. But sometimes, even though I know it, I shouldn't say it. And those are one of those times. You just shouldn't say it.
Talking about Lisa's teeth and Kelsey and all of those things, they were all things that you really just don't talk about regardless.
I mean, I was so uncomfortable. I was like, I can't, yeah. Whew.
I feel like that's low. And those are the places that Camille will go. And I feel like that's what rubs me the wrong way with her, you know?
Now I'm worried about my breath.
Lisa Vanderpump saying that she was not invited is just flat out not true.
Well, I texted her that she was missed, and she said that she wasn't invited.
I'm sorry, what? I literally didn't leave a stone unturned, Camille. In my relationship with Lisa in the past, when she's been upset with me, it's basically cutting off all communication. But to me, you know, it's not about what happened between Lisa and me. I wanted to invite her and include her in the shower like everybody else.
Kyle is not the kind of woman that is not going to include her. Are you kidding me? Come on.
We're all on the same
Come on.
text and email. I mean, Lisa definitely got an invite.
Going to the lengths of saying I wasn't invited instead of like, you know what, I just couldn't be there. I think Camille would have understood. It's once again just another way for attention.
I think it was part, you know, I'm gonna make Kyle look bad for not inviting me. It's my excuse for not showing up because she didn't want to see anybody, and part, everybody feel bad for me. Because honestly, it just makes no sense.
Why do you think that she thinks she would get away with something like that if you're all in the same email thread?
Because I think when you've been able to get away with pretty astounding things in the past, you
The rules
almost
don't
believe,
apply.
Right, you're
It's
impermeable.
the arrogance of it all.
you first got married and you were a lawyer's wife, as you put
Yes.
it. And then at 35 to become a pop star. What was that like?
But
What
that
was
wasn't the goal. The goal wasn't to become a pop star.
I'm a pretty man.
Pop stars are 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. I wanted to perform again. I wanted to create again. I wanted to write and say things that I was feeling inside and communicate. And I did that on my own terms. I wasn't trying to recapture my early 20s.
Right.
My early 20s f***ing sucked, man. They were tough. I was a young mom, not knowing what's going on, and you know, trying to find yourself and raise a baby and getting a divorce and all kinds of crazy shit like that. And you know, here's the thing. I married Tom and I lived his life, and I mean, he was the president of every legal organization. I know everybody from Cochran, Shapiro, Allred. I've been to the United States Supreme Court. I've done it all, law-wise. I definitely think that I could pass the bar, at least in California. I know a lot of deans. I chat with them. They love the show. Yes, judges love the show. I talk to them about it. It's nuts. I'm always like, what? I know. You went to Harvard and you want to know about this bullshit? Okay, great. Yeah, so I lived his life, and then I realized that I was fading away, and I wasn't challenged, and I was not being my authentic self. And fortunately for me, I had a partner that understood, knew that I had been there for him.
He was supportive.
I did more than she did. Erika, of all the stuff you've done, this is the best. It's very artistic and beautiful.
I love him. Supportive. And what's great about Tom being older than me was that he was able to look back and say, I know where you are in life.
Yeah. Ooh.
I know
Just
where
got
you
chills.
are in life. I know what you're feeling. I know what you need. And gave me the latitude to do so.
The fact that this doctor came out, I think she's changing everything.
I just have a different point of view on this one. If you were at 15, you would tell your best friend or you would tell your parents.
Camille, not necessarily, absolutely
I do not agree.
I do not discuss politics in public. My mom always taught me that. You don't have conversations about sex, religion, or politics at a dinner table. So I knew it would be a fight immediately.
Do you not believe this woman?
We don't know if for sure it happened or not.
Camille,
because it's a he said, she
Camille,
said.
do you want-
This pisses me off.
I mean, Camille and Lisa Rinna had two very different opinions about it, and like nobody wants to have an argument at dinner, contrary to popular belief. Talking to you, Allison.
All right, I can give a shit with you.
I'm asking a question, but
Well, why doesn't Kim stay
my husband.
Oh, stop. I'm tired of your goddamn mouth. You're a big, stubborn old man. Shut up.
Stop.
Had enough. Don't you ever. You understand that? Ever go after my bitch.
We have enough arguments not even bringing up politics. So you know, like dividing us with
Yeah,
politics,
that's not
it's
gonna
going to
be
be
a
a
good
real
idea.
problem. And plus, like, if you don't really know what you're talking about, it comes off even worse.
I mean, you have to be extremely informed about every little detail of these stories, otherwise, yeah,
You are going to be
dead.
I know what it feels like to be wrongfully accused and humiliated all over the country, the world, for lies.
You know, it's a bit political, but not as much political as just feeling the feeling of being wronged. It's a he said, she said, and it happened how many years ago? It was never tried, but yet he's being almost put on trial. And I felt that I was put on trial basically years ago by the press and the stuff that my ex-husband was putting out there about me.
One of the tabloids called you the most hated housewife ever. Here are some of the words that were used to describe you. Conniving, passive-aggressive, narcissistic, insincere, delusional.
Like, I felt that the first season of Housewives and with Kyle calling me a liar.
You're such a liar, Camille.
I was made to look like this villain the first season, and I was this horrible person, and I felt like it was just all coming down on me, and it was affecting me as a mother, and my children were being affected by it. And when I watched his children talk about it, that's when it hit me that I felt so bad for his kids, because it struck a chord on me what my kids were going through. Because I've been there, and my kids have been there. And it just made me really, really emotional.
I told myself I wasn't going to have you a little scared girl running around, but it was hard for me to let go.
I was never scared, but I think you were so overprotective that I never trusted anything. I must have put out such an energy that no one would ever even with me. I think that I grew up with a lot of fear. My mom was very fearful, and I never really understood why she was so overprotective of me. So growing up, I did not know of the trauma. I think she told me in the kitchen one day when I was going off to college, she told me the real story. Like, what would you like for dinner? Like, do you want steak? Do you want pasta? That's how she told me the story. He drove up and had just had a new baby, and he said, I want you to come and see my new baby. She knew the wife, and you know, my mom is very trusting, and obviously a lot of us are. I mean, my God.
Well, yeah, someone you work with.
She works with him. So he drove up and she got in the car. A military policeman saw them drive down this deserted road in the Presidio in San Francisco, because it was like 10 in the morning. And he thought, well, no one should be driving down there. So he followed them. David Carpenter straddling my mom at that point so he could see out the back window, and he went at my mom with a knife, and she grabbed the knife with her hand, and he saw the military police, and then he reached in the back and got the hammer and tried to kill her. Trying to kill her when he drove down, and then he somehow got out of the car, and the military police shot him in the stomach, and he didn't die. And then he went on to kill like 25 people. He was a mass murderer in the Mount Tamalpais killings and then the Mill Valley. It was like two different. She just met my dad when this happened. Imagine that at the beginning of a relationship.
That is a lot.
And then she was in the hospital for 3 months. Imagine that. You know, I think I probably have trust issues because of that. Like, think about it. My mom's stuff and attack is probably in my DNA. You know, when I was in her womb, I picked it up. And you know, I'm very open and honest about how I am, because I've been very much like that in my life and terrified of my children and how, you know, what might happen to them. So I'm over fearful. And Harry's very good about being able to say, you know, your mom has this issue. This is part of how she grew up. So we've been very open about it. But I am overly hypersensitive to walking by myself, I would never go into a garage by myself, like a parking garage. Like, I grew up with a lot of fear, which I think has saved my life. I do. I think it's saved me on a lot of occasions.